Derrick Lewis's great equalizer of the knockout power once again came into play on Saturday when he laid out Curtis Blaydes in devastating fashion in the UFC Fight Night 185 main event in Las Vegas. Lewis, it did not seem like this fight was going his way. Blaydes was showing some really solid stand-up in this fight until that bomb of an uppercut, perfectly timed, perfectly placed, scores in the second round, drops Blaydes, two big haymakers to finish the job. Lewis ties the all-time record for most UFC knockouts, matching Vitor Belfort atop the leaderboard with 12. This one perhaps the most sensational of that entire dozen, and in perhaps the most high-stakes fight for him and high-stakes scenario. Blaydes trending towards a title shot coming into this fight. Lewis took all that momentum for himself, has now won 4 consecutive bouts in the heavyweight division, seems to be on path to getting another title shot in this weight class. It seems like it's not right there for him, though. We know, of course, Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou have their rematch coming up at UFC 260, and then all signs point to Jon Jones challenging the winner of that fight for the belt. So what does that mean for Lewis? He says he absolutely does not want to wait around and see what happens. I think that's probably the right call, and he's made it very, very clear he wants to face Alistair Overeem. Is that the most logical matchup, with Overeem coming off a tough knockout loss of his own against Alexander Volkov? Is he at the end of his career? Is he going to retire? I think if you're Overeem, you got to look at this as a big-time opportunity. Derrick Lewis is going to be very high in the rankings after this, and if Overeem wants to potentially keep this one last title run going, he has a fight here and someone calling him out that could take him right back to the top of the queue and potentially get him that title shot he's craving before the end of his career. So we'll have to see what happens on that up front. I think if you're Overeem, you definitely take a hard look at accepting that call out. We'll see if the UFC agrees and wants to make that fight. But if you look at a matchup that maybe makes a little more sense in terms of the rankings, maybe you do that rematch with Alexander Volkov. We of course know what happened at UFC 229. Volkov was dominating Lewis until he got caught with one of the craziest comeback knockout finishes in UFC history. Derrick Lewis dropping the infamous "my balls was hot" line after that win. I think the timing could be right with where these two guys are in their careers in the division to run that fight back, but you could also keep them apart and put different fights together. So I think Derrick Lewis, he most certainly wants that Overeem fight. We'll see if he gets it, but Alexander Volkov, not a bad option either for the Black Beast coming off of this KO of the year candidate against Curtis Blaydes.